Good morning / afternoon / evening, everybody. I am SouthPawRacer. I come to you from my humble abode, which in many ways is a reflection of my life. It's a monumental mess, but in the midst of it all, I still manage to find some order and communicate the illusion of having everything together. Automobilista, new content, Brazilian touring car classics. Now, this is something that I looked at with a bit of intrigue, and it's out in the official version of AMS, and I tried it in the beta. Of course, the Copa Fusca and the Copa Uno, found them alright, but there's more cars here that I had not tried before. I have given most of them like a 1 lap or so run, but I'm going to go a bit more in depth with the driving here and just, you know, have a fang and see what they're like. So we have the Fusca, which is a Volkswagen Beetle. We have the Gol, which I suppose is Volkswagen Golf. The Passat, Volkswagen Passat. Fair enough. And of course, the greatest of them all, the Fiat Uno, which looks pretty bog standard other than the roll cage in this class anyway. There are lots of different cars here in a few different classes, and I have no idea what any of these mean, so I'm just going to go from the top and drive them in order. Alright, so first off, the Golf. I'm at Santa Cruz do Sul. Probably butchered that pronunciation. This is one of my favorite tracks in Reiza's Sims. I like these obscure Brazilian tracks. They remind me quite a bit of the tracks that we have here in Australia, you know. Kind of bog standard, short, challenging. They got some nice elevation change too. So this Golf, oh, a little bit of a chatter on the exhaust, and of course understeer. Front wheel drive out of 10. Go flat out through this chicane. And this thing has a 5-speed H-pattern transmission. Down into 3rd gear for this carousel-like turn. Oh man, I'm going so slow. Got to be very smooth in this car, I'm finding. You can't jerk the wheel around. Hit the red line and then just let the rear end kick out just a bit. I'm liking this. Oh my goodness gracious me. It's just a waiting game. Waiting for this thing to go up in revs and shift to the next gear. Of course, being a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder motor from the 1980s in a German car, no less, this thing's pretty gutless at low revs. You really got to get it high up in the rev range to really see what it can do. Whoopsie. Yeah, okay. Locked it. Jesus. Okay. Ouch. Alright. Fuck it, do a bit of NASCAR on the grass banks. I am Ricky Bobby. Brazilian Ricky Bobby in a Volkswagen. That's quite the entertaining car, that Golf, and I guess from what I can gather, this class that they're in, Copa Classic B, is the bog standard class or thereabouts. I love the detail on the model. It's so grotesquely 80s, this car. Look at those flared wheel arches. That's excellent. This thing's manic and I love it. Alright. Alright, this here is the Passat and the bonnet is missing. Might want to do something about that, Reiza. Oh boy, where is my engine? Alright, how does this thing feel? Well, it definitely feels a little bit more softly sprung than the Golf. But it's got a 1.64 cylinder, just like the Golf. Oh, bit of a longer wheelbase too, I think. Or at the very least, a longer body. more weight to throw around, I suppose. It is geared a bit differently as well. I feel like this engine in the Passat has got a bit more guts to it. And wow, yeah, it feels much smoother than the Golf. I felt like the Golf was, in the fast turns, the fronts were chattering a little bit. Like it was struggling to keep the power down through the turns, but this Passat, it's gliding through those sweepers. Feels very nice. Yeah, I feel like there's sort of a finer control to the Passat. Oh, still kicking out the rear end on that turn. Whew. Yeah, I feel like maybe I should have been using second gear in that turn in the Golf. I don't know. Yeah, the thing that I am noticing here is that the Passat is more docile than the Golf. I suppose the Golf is a bit more aggressive, but the Passat, it's a pussycat. It likes helping you through the corners, this one. Nice and smooth. I love it. How's it go through this final turn at full clip? Oh, yeah? It actually feels alright. I like this. Like, I suppose it's less interesting to drive than the Golf, but if you're looking for a car that does what you want it to do, when you want it to do it, then this is your car. The Passat. Lovely stuff. Those absolutely pissy tyres. God, these cars are crazy. This is the kind of stuff that I enjoy racing. This kind of stuff, like these bog standard, close to road car race cars. There's something about them that just really appeals to me. Like, you know, GT3 this, LMP's that, but look, I mean, if you want to have a race with your mates, these things, fucking hell. The Fiat Uno. As some viewers of my channel might recall, I drove a 1,000 horsepower Fiat Uno around Mount Panorama for my 1,000 subscriber celebration. I think this thing has a little less power than that. Oh god, the rear end of this thing likes to kick out under brakes. And geez, yeah, this thing's... You gotta rev the shit out of it. Oh. Getting up into fourth gear... It does feel like, yeah, I'm working the wheel a lot harder in this thing than I was in the Passat. But I mean, this thing's geared so differently. Ugh, understeer through the last turn. Whereas the Passat was compliant, I feel this thing's a bit more like the Golf. It's, yeah. Brake nice and early for this. Still fuck it up a bit. Oh, shit. Come on. Hook it up nicely. I mean, I suppose... With these gutless Italian four-cylinder engines that these Unos have, you don't necessarily have to worry about wheel spin in acceleration zones. This thing runs out of revs before you can even get a chance to heat up the front tires by spinning them. Alright, are you going to cooperate with me this time? No, you're not. Sensitive to bumps. Yeah, wow. Well, yeah, okay. So all you have to do is just lift off the throttle and around it goes. That looks cool. That looks very cool. Have a look at the driver model, though. It's tiny as. I mean, I suppose if you want a bit of pocket rocket fun, then the Fiat Uno is your car. Alright, this is the next thing I'm going to take out. We're in the FL class. Copa Classic is a modern regional series featuring classic cars. Okay, so this is basically like Touring Car Masters here in Australia. The FL class stands for... Yes, Reiza? Gonna leave that a mystery. Well, we'll see how that works. Right, so this is the FL Fusca, or the super modded Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah, right. Revs up like a motherfucker. Now, this thing has a 4-speed transmission, and already this thing, the acceleration compared to the B-class cars that I was just driving, it's already feeling a bit frighteningly fast. Now, I gotta remember the... Volkswagen Beetle is rear-engine, rear-wheel drive, and it was designed by Ferdinand Porsche. The Beetle, that basic design for the Beetle, then became the Porsche 911 when Porsche started his company. So this thing is basically it's a 911. Almost a classic 911, but a bit more quirky, I suppose. You can really feel it. Jesus. That, doesn't feel like this... Oh, God! Alright. So, this is what happens when SouthPawRacer drives a rear-engine, rear-wheel drive car after driving front-engine, front-wheel drive cars. But yeah, a lot of the tactics necessary for driving a Porsche, like, you know, standing on the throttle, guiding the car through the turns, getting weight onto the fronts on corner entry so that you can line up the exit, they all apply here. So, if you're good at driving Porsches, you'll be good at driving this. Because you've got that engine over the rear axle, under brakes, it can get a bit hairy. And in a front-wheel drive car, where you expect to have oversteer on corner entry... Oh, God. Turned in a bit late for that. In a front-wheel drive car where you expect to have oversteer on corner entry, you can just give it a bit more stick, a bit more throttle, and the car just falls back into line. With this thing, you can't do that. Once this thing decides that the rear end's going to kick out on corner entry, you're basically gone. And you can't do anything about it until you pass the apex. Oh, okay. Yep, that's what happens. Tank slapper out of 10. Nope. Recovered it. Jesus Christ. That single pegger. Spinning up the inside rear wheel. Doesn't this thing just look magnificent going around the racetrack? Like, this thing shouldn't exist, but it does, and it's a beautiful thing. Alright, this is the FL Class Golf. This is going to be my first experience of an FL Class version of a car I've driven before. How's the acceleration? Sizably better. Oh, I think I'm in for a wild ride here. This thing's actually spinning up the rear wheels? Spinning up the front wheels, somewhat. You're not driving a Beetle anymore, Reese. Snap out of it. What's the top speed I'm gonna reach? I'm hitting the rev limiter in 5th. Okay, about 187 kilometers an hour before I brake for turn 1. Nice and easy on the throttle. This is enjoyable. It's still got pretty much the same body kit. I think it might have a different front bumper. I'll check it back in post, see if it's different, but wow, mechanically, it's definitely different. I love through those long corners, the balancing game that you have to perform. It's a lot less prone to lift off oversteer than the Class B car was. FL Golf. Very nice. I like it. Next up is the Passat, and holy shit. Okay. Reiza, does the FL class stand for fucking ludicrous? Have a look at that wing. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? And that splitter. Jesus. Look at the wheel. Hang on. The front track and the rear track. Are they... Does this thing have a wider front track? Oh, it does. It does. So the stance of the front end has been widened a bit. Buckle your seatbelts. It's Reiza Passat time. 153 horsepower, 925 kilograms. Sounds like a good time. And the first thing that I am noticing is that this has a bonnet. So I've actually got something resembling a car in front of me. So let's see how this goes into turn one. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Got a little unstable there. Oh, God. Okay, so my wheel was just kicked around over those curbs in a way that has not been seen before on the other cars. Oh, what are you doing in fourth? Get in third, thank you. Oh my God, it's so smooth through these fast turns. Little bit of oversteer, but I corrected it in advance and turned it into understeer, as per usual. Complete lift off. Yeah. This thing likes it if you keep a little bit of throttle on corner entry, just to keep the rear end settled, but ooh. 7, 9, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. Into turn one. Ah, that felt satisfying. Right, wheel over these curbs. Oh. Feels like I'm being smashed around inside a washing machine when I'm going through that chicane. Even though it's got some more power, it's a little harder to drive. I find I'm liking the Passat the best out of these front-wheel drive cars. Oh, I can't get over how smooth it is through these turns. It's just a dream. In the Golf and the Uno, I was fighting it all the way through, but this Passat, you turn in and it's like, yeah, okay. It's all good, man, I got this. Through the slower turns, the more point and squirt sort of stuff, it feels like it needs to have a couple of goes at the corner before it's really happy and balanced. Like you see him having to work the wheel a bit more through that hairpin. But once I get to this final section of the circuit, up into fourth gear and just lift off the throttle a bit, let the front come in, keep the line going onto the throttle, just guide the car through the turns, lift off the throttle again, back on, just pump the brakes a bit, slow down a little, smoothly back on the throttle, and through the last turn, hit that curb, bang on the throttle, out over the runoff area in the last turn. Oh, beautiful. It looks mental going around the track as well. That rear wing is just... Does that even do anything? Is the car even going fast enough for that downforce implement to work? I suppose at some tracks it would. But I'm also noticing the improved front track. The width of the front axle. I think that's probably a factor in its maneuverability as well. A little bit wider, a little bit more racy through the fast stuff. Just looks so planted. Fantastic. Yeah, even there, a little bit of a kick out of the rear end, but I managed to keep it together in a way that I really couldn't in the other cars without making a complete ass of myself. Passat FL. It's a delicious car. Oh, what's this? Sponsors on a car? Haven't seen those before in this class. So this one right here is the FL version of the Uno. So 118 horsepower, 900 kilograms, 5-speed. Let's go. Oh, fuck. This thing's got a flat-top steering wheel. Whoever races this is getting pretty serious. Ooh, alright. Bit of a kick from second to third. So, in Class B, it was the Pocket Rocket. In FL, let's see how it goes. Ooh, did I lock the brakes there a tad? Oh, this thing feels soft. Ugh. Okay. Jesus. It likes to spin the wheels. Oh, Jesus. So you definitely need to give the throttle a good kick on the downshifts. Wow, this... I can feel it through the wheel as well, and you can probably hear it. This thing is struggling to get the power down. Coming into the turns, it feels lovely and planted, but coming out, it's like... Please grip. Please. Oh, wow. And, yeah, see, right there, I was tricked into shifting into fourth sooner than I needed to. The stamp on the throttle, yeah, felt the steering go a bit light, but then came back to me. Oh, spinning the wheels again. Goodness me. So, this thing is obviously having trouble putting its power to the tarmac, reaching a comparable top speed to the other cars. Oh, probably a bit late on the brakes. Just sliding my way through the first turn. Horrible exit. Okay. We don't want that Fiat engine to conk out on us too soon. I'm wondering if it's spinning up the inside wheel. I can't actually see it in the mirrors because of my view, but when we check the replay, we'll see, I suppose. Come on, grip please. I'm keeping it online nicely, but I always feel as if I'm on the very edge of failing spectacularly. Goodness, this thing doesn't like direction change either. You change the direction of the steering wheel and the front wheels just go, no! No, you bastard, what are you doing to us? And through the last turn, ugh, rolls like a ship in stormy seas. Alright, let's have a look at this thing go. Oh yeah, Jesus, okay, yeah. It's kicking up the inside wheel, something chronic. Might need to make the rebound stiffness a little bit softer on the front, if you can. Oh, jeez. Am I right in seeing that? The front, the rear, inside rear wheel just lifting off the ground. Okay, so I somehow get the feeling that this car... Fucking look at the wheel! Jesus! It's lifting clear off the ground. Who built this car? What are you smoking and where can I get some? Fuck you, look at it! Look at... It's not touching the ground! It's not touching the ground! Oh, holy fucking shit, it's not touching the ground! Look at it! Oh my god. I said that the Beetle shouldn't exist, but it does, and it's beautiful. This thing shouldn't exist, and it does, and I somehow feel it should have stayed that way. But hey, just for the sheer crazy value of this thing, and fucking hell. I take that back. More people should have this car. Make it national law for everyone to drive in sim racing with those Fiat Unos at least once a season.